Hey, fancy some masterpieces? Good, because I looked through my game library and found 10 games I would rate a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 is not a perfect game for me, it's just exceptionally good. I just wanted to say that right away. What is a game you consider a 10 out of 10? Let us all know in the comments. NieR Automata is one of these games that really deserves every praise it gets because it's something truly special. The story around 2B, 9S, A2, the machines and the humans sticks with me to this date. It's just so memorable. That's because experiencing it from 3 different perspectives is super intriguing and clever, and the twists and turns caught me by surprise. The combat may not be super complex, but the simplicity and the fluid movement is exactly what fits the game perfectly. That way you feel like a hack and slash powerhouse, and just pure bliss. And then there is the masterpiece of a soundtrack, which together with the desolate areas, creates a unique atmosphere that is second to none. The creative genius of Yoko Taro and his team definitely reached its peak here. If you haven't played NieR Automata yet, do yourself a favor, you won't regret it. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana has everything an action RPG needs and then some. The story is really exciting, full of unpredictable twists and emotional moments. And I guarantee you, it will grab you more than you initially think. The extreme speed and fluidity of the combat combined with the rock paper scissors style damage types make this one of the most addictive and best combat in all of gaming. Exploring the Lonely Island is a joy too, thanks to countless treasures and optional areas to discover. And of course, I can't talk about Ys 8 without mentioning the banger of a soundtrack that combines quiet and relaxing tunes with driving guitar heavy rock songs. The result is a wonderful gameplay loop that is so good that you don't want to put down the controller. I've talked about Tunic a lot on this channel, and it's time to do that once again since this has to be one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. Tunic creates a world full of mysteries and secrets that is so incredibly satisfying to explore. It doesn't tell you where to go or what to do next, and there is no text or voice acting. You have to figure this out on your own, and you will, step by step. Something that you don't have to figure out on your own is finding that cute red subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Every little one of those steps can significantly impact the way you explore the world, experience the story, or solve puzzles. And everything you figure out will make you feel smart because in this game, this really is your achievement and yours alone. It's really hard to talk about Tunic without taking something away from the experience, so I'll leave it at that. Tunic lives and breathes exploration, and if you're able to think outside the box, you have a fantastic time. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is my favorite classic 3D Zelda game, and for me this is a 10 out of 10. The story around Midna, Xanto and the World of Shadows is so dark, intriguing and just grabbed me. I gotta say, aside from Tears of the Kingdom, Twilight Princess has the best combat system in the series. That's because the combat techniques add a lot of variety, which makes fighting enemies so much more fun than in any other 3D Zelda game. And the dungeons, they are awesome. You get so many interesting puzzle mechanics and thematically cool environments, and the items Link acquires on his journey are so damn cool. Like the double claw shot, the spinner and the ball and chain. Awesome stuff. I like all the mainline Zelda games, but Twilight Princess has a very special place in my heart. Totally hard shift, I know, but man, this game is incredible. I rarely play horror games, but the Dead Space remake is a remarkable game. The horror is so elegantly staged because it doesn't rely on clumsy jump scares. Instead, the audio and lighting design create a uniquely terrifying atmosphere that takes the horror to a more psychological level. The grotesque creature design and the extreme gore round off the horror perfectly, as they provide a constant threat. Horror games usually don't have enjoyable combat in my opinion, but the weapons in Dead Space actually make fighting ugly aliens super fun. There's simply nothing more satisfying than cutting off all the limbs. Honestly, the Dead Space remake is an almost perfect game, and I hope we get more games like that in the future. Rayman Legends is one of the best 2D platformers ever, period. The creativity that went into each level is noticeable every second, whether it's the fantastic areas or the many unique and varied gameplay mechanics. Everything, absolutely everything puts a smile on your face, because it's just so much fun. What I love in 2D platformers are hidden secrets to find, and Rayman Legends is full of them, which just adds so much depth to the gameplay. And then there are these music levels that are charming, hilarious and so addictive. The best part though, you can play all of that with your friends. I'm serious. Rayman Legends is platforming perfection and a true masterpiece. If you haven't played this yet, do yourself a favor and change that. Alundra is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of those overlooked PS1 classics that never got the recognition it deserves, despite being a brilliant masterpiece. Alundra basically is Zelda on PlayStation, only darker and more mature. Alundra himself is a dreamwalker trying to save people from their deadly nightmares. As you can imagine, that does not work all the time, which makes for some shocking and emotional moments that I'll never forget. You collect items that expand the possibility to explore a beautiful world full of secrets. This is an absolute joy because the world is so incredibly well designed and therefore exploration is extremely satisfying. Alundra's dungeons are packed with mind-bending puzzles that are the perfect contrast to the intense combat. It's difficult to do this game justice by just talking about it for a minute, so I just say, if you ever get a chance to play this, please do that. Alundra truly is a masterpiece. While Demon's Souls and Dark Souls 1 may be the more important titles in the genre itself, I personally think Dark Souls 3 is easily the best game From Software created, apart from Elden Ring. Everything about the sequel was better. The desolate world and its level design is simply perfectly crafted and so satisfying to explore. The bosses are epic, memorable and so fun to fight it's almost ridiculous. And the combat feels better than ever thanks to more fluid movement and an impressive number of customization options. Dark Souls 3 is an easy 10 out of 10 for me because everything I described is just perfect. It really is. And while every From Software game prior to Elden Ring is fantastic in its own way, Dark Souls 3 will always remain my favorite. There are only 2 Final Fantasy games I would rate a 10 out of 10, and Final Fantasy X is one of them. What always fascinated me is the world and its atmosphere of constant danger in the form of sin. While on your journey, you constantly switch between the feeling of unease and wonder. Never have I ever experienced a world so alive and believable before, and with such a unique aesthetic. The story of Yuna, Tidus and the rest is told beautifully and heartbreakingly emotional. It's probably one of the best told stories ever. Combat also reached a peak with its highly tactical CDB combat system that brought us some of the most intense and memorable boss encounters in all of JRPGs. I know this game has a couple of flaws like a stupid grind for the best weapons, but everything else is just so well crafted that Final Fantasy X will always be one of my favorite games of all time. Doom Eternal surprised me, okay? I never thought to like a first-person shooter this much, but man, this game is simply brilliant. The whole gameplay loop and the fluid movement are like god-tier level of game design and ridiculously satisfying. Every encounter is a highly intense experience, and thanks to the amazing heavy metal soundtrack, you are immersed in this demonic world that just feels so powerful and awesome. People don't talk enough about the fantastic level design. Areas are filled with option items and secrets to find, and it just works so well in an FPS. So yeah, even exploration is a hell lot of fun. Honestly, Doom Eternal is a masterpiece, and easily the most fun I've ever had with a single player first person shooter. Alright, that's it. 10 games I would rate a 10 out of 10. What are some games you consider a 10 out of 10? Let us all know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video and you don't want to miss videos about RPGs, Metroidvanias, indie games and all things gaming. Thanks so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.